Hey there, David Teal at the Table Saw, and today we're going to talk about a table saw tip. We're going to talk about changing a blade, and that's a good place to start. Well, safety is a better place to start. I've got my glasses and my hearing protection for when I turn the saw on, but that's not what I'm doing right now. I'm going to get in there and play with the blade. So the first thing I need to do is make sure that the saw is unplugged, because you don't want to stick your hand in there if there's some power there. Sure, it's unlikely you're going to kick something and turn it on, but hey, why risk it? So now that we've got our table saw safe to work with, we want to go ahead first and take the throat plate out so we can get to it. Okay, we have a riving knife on our saw, and just to make things a little easier, I'm going to take that out of the way as well, but do remember to put that back on because that's an important part of the safety too. Now, we've got our blade exposed, and we've got our nut down here, and that's where we want to get to. Now, the first thing we want to do is find the wrench. Ours is sitting right here, thank goodness. Now, the question is, where do you keep it so you know where it's safe and where you can find it all the time? Put it in a drawer. Some people will lay it in the track over here. Other people will put it in the tube at the back of the saw. So, bottom line is, keep your wrench someplace that you can find it so you don't waste a lot of time looking for it. So, that's half of it. Now, this blade is recessed down in the table saw, and so we can reach our hand in there to do what we need to do, or we can make this a little easier by raising up the blade so we can access things a little easier. And that's a good thing to do for multiple reasons, because if you've ever dropped one of these nuts down into the saw because your hand is a little trapped down there, you know how hard it is to find down in the sawdust. So save yourself a little bit of energy, raise it up. The next thing you need is your push stick or something similar, because what we have to do to take the nut off is push against. Now, some fences, some saws will have two wrenches to do this with, and you can do this too, but honestly most of us just take this and pry it down there to stop the rotation. You basically wedge it against there so it's nice and safe. Take your wrench, and it shouldn't take much. This shouldn't be that tight. Release, and there it is. Take it out. Your nut should come off without a problem. And again, hang on to it because you don't want to chase it in the sawdust. And I know you can't see this, but my hand is much more comfortable this way. I've got two fingers on it, and actually a third. I'm actually gripping this like this to hang on to it so it doesn't fall down. Now I've got that loose, and it's out of the way. We take our stabilizer, that's off, gone, blade is out. Putting the blade back in, I'm gonna laugh for a second because of myself. Make sure that you're putting the thing on the right way. The teeth are going towards you. I only laugh because, well, yeah, I've actually done that, and it makes it really hard to cut. So make sure the teeth are coming towards you and go in the right direction. Nice and clean. Take a look at your stabilizer. Make sure that there's no garbage on the back end of it. Sometimes dust will get stuck up in there, and if it's got goop or anything on it, it's not going to fit tight against that plate, and it'll give you a wobble. We don't want to do that. That's good. Now, nuts. There's two different sides to this. Some saws it makes a difference. Most saws it really doesn't. This one's been put on both ways a couple of times. It really doesn't matter. That side will work, this side will work. You just need to make sure you got a nice tight fit against there. And again, hang on to it, you don't want to drop it. See how this is shaking? Does that matter? Not yet. Go ahead and run that nut onto it. Now this is actually where this question came from. How tight do you have to put this on? This is the beauty of it. Do you need to put a wrench on it? Do you need to put a stick back in there to hold it in place? I have that finger tightened. Believe it or not, that's actually good enough. When the saw kicks on, because of the way the threads are oriented and the nut is on there, it actually tightens against this jam nut and will tighten itself up to the proper tightness that you need to run the saw. So finger tightening is actually okay. That said, I don't think there's anything wrong with giving it a little push there. And that was no stress whatsoever, just making sure that you're a little beyond finger tightening. And that's it. Just remember to make sure that things are clean, tight, back together, and don't overstress it. Just a little bit of a push on it. Make sure we put our riving knife back in, and our plate will go back on. And we're ready to go. But do remember, bring your blade down to a safe height so it's just above what you're cutting. This is where we are. We just want the top of those teeth showing. And that's where we want to cut. So a little table saw safety and setup to help you get your day started. Remember, push sticks, hearing, and eye protection. Use your table saw safe. It'll take care of you for lots of years.